So, this week's Versus video, we are looking at the classic Ghostbusters. Now, when this film come out, it was a huge, massive hit, and I, for one, loved it. I can remember going to my local cinema and seeing it at least 3 or 4 times. I loved it. I fell in love with this film. So, obviously, when the video game come out, what wasn't not to love, you know? At the time of this game coming out, I own a Sinclair Spectrum, so my gaming memories of it are pretty much from the Spectrum version. So it was great to go and take a look at the other systems. But before we get to that, we just need to talk a little bit about Ghostbusters and my gaming memories from back in the day. Now, when we finished school, we would quite often, me and my mates, make our way down to the local town and go in W.H. Smith, your John Menzies, all them sort of shops, and flick through the gaming press, the magazines, and generally look at the new games that were released on our systems that week and get excited and looking at all the games we couldn't afford to buy. But I remember very well, Ghostbusters was always there or thereabouts, and it was always in the game chart, and it was always pretty much #1. It was around for a very, very long time, and it was a popular title, and it sold loads. It's on the back of the film. Of course it did, because the film was such a brilliant, brilliant film. Right, back to the game in question. As I said, I had it on the ZX Spectrum. So we're going to be taking a look at the 8-bit home systems of Ghostbusters. And we're going to be looking at the ZX Spectrum version, Sinclair. We're going to be looking at the Commodore 64 version and the Amstrad CPC. Now, those that watch the channel will know they are the usual suspects. So, we'll see which one comes out on top after we have a look at all the gameplay from each version. And then, when we've done the 8-bit versions, we're then going to go and take a look at the 8-bit console systems of the day, which were the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega Master System version of Ghostbusters, neither of which I had played. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Ghostbusters. Let's kick things off first on the 8-bit home computer systems of the day, and let's start with the version I know best, the ZX Spectrum. Here we go. So there we go, a bit of speech for the very start of the ZX Spectrum version. Now, all the systems we're looking at for the 8-bit all began like this, so a bit of speech and then the theme tune. So we'll have a quick listen to the theme tune of each, and before getting into the gameplay. So this is the ZX Spectrum version. You can hear the music building up there. Unfortunately, sort of no real drum pattern to this one, but do remember it was the humble Spectrum. Okay, the game would start with this. You were given a budget of 10,000. You could choose your vehicle, and then you had to equip the vehicle with various stuff for your ghost hunting. I mean, there was sensors and a hoover you could bolt on the front of the car for sucking up ghosts, and obviously you needed to get the traps to put the ghosts in, etc. From this section, once you completed fulfilling your vehicle within budget, of course, you would then move on to a road layout like this in the city, and the flashing buildings meant that they were occupied by a ghost. So you go in there and you drive your car along and make your way to it. This was the Spectrum version of it. As you can see, a very big graphic used for the car on this. Not that exciting, to be honest, that section. You go through, get through to this bit here, and you'd lay down your trap. Now you get your 2 players, and then you'd fire your beams, okay, like your laser beams from your pack. And as always, as you guys all know, sort of film, you must never cross the beams. Now in this example here, as you can see, failed to catch the ghost. Bit of colour clash there, and this is the very end level where you'd have like the ghost, the Marshmallow Man. You'd have to get past him through the door. Once you get your last Ghostbuster through, you'd make you out to the top of the building where you'd battle Zool. But there was no battle to do, it just gave you this end thing, and there you go. That was it. The portal to the spirit world has been closed. You gain 5 grand reward from the city. Is that enough? I personally think the mayor of the city should give you a bit more than that. This here, the Amstrad version, and as you heard with that speech there, quite a bit more distorted than the ZX Spectrum version, I felt, so not as good, but let's see how it plays out.
listening to the first few lines of the music again, like we have done the previous versions. Okay, make of that what you will. Then takes you back through to this stage, buying your items for your car. Slightly more colourful, this one. Obviously picked a different car on this one, more sporty version. Loading up the car, and then we're going to go through and look at the same scenes again. One of the driving to the ghost scene, and then catching a ghost or not catching a ghost, whatever the chance may be, and then the end screen, how it ended on this version. So graphically at this stage, probably slightly better than the Spectrum. Not sure about the flickering of the lines on the car on this driving scene. I mean, the Spectrum was very slow on this, but I don't think it was any worse than that at all. And graphically, this section here, catching the ghosts, maybe this is slightly better than the Spectrum version in relation to the graphics, with the better use of colours and stuff. Again, the beams are fired up, and as we all know, do not cross the beams. So will we catch Slimer this time? Let's have a look. I always found it difficult judging this. Up it goes, yes, caught this time. Again, not so much colour clash, more colour flash, should I say. Okay, and in the end scene here, as you can see, very similar again. You have to get your Ghostbusters through past Marshmallow Man. But the difference to this version to the Specky, it just cuts you at this final screen rather than taking you up in the lift to the top of the tower to see Zool and complete the game fully. So that concludes the Amstrad CPC version. Ghostbusters! First off there, the speech, very clear, the clearest of the three I think, and of course the sound here, the music, very good tune, making great use of the SID chip, which of course is synonymous with the Commodore 64, so pretty much what you'd expect, probably the best sound of the three versions so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as always, people. So similar here, loading up your vehicle within your budget and all that good stuff, of course. Fairly similar to the other systems, not a lot between this. Smooth scrolling though on the little guy on the forklift there, which quite nicely done. This screen as well, not a lot between the systems on this one. But when it comes to the road and driving to the scene of the ghostly apparitions, as you can see, this was the smoothest by far, scrolled nicely, good clear bold graphics, nicely shaded, so good job there. Catching the ghost here, quite a bit quicker this one. I found it was a bit more easier to do. I mean, you guys played this game back in the day. Do you remember this version being the easier one to play? I personally found it a quite tricky game when I had it on the Specky. And the end screen. Get your last Ghostbuster through. Here he comes. Got to time it just right to get through that Marshmallow Man. But when you do, this one, let's see what sort of ending we get for the Commodore 64. So far, very similar to the Specky. And as you can see, very similar to the Spectrum, shows the whole thing in completion, takes you to the top of the tower, where of course you get your end screen here with your code to finish your game. So all in all, pretty good stuff. Good version, that one. What do you think? We'll find out in the verdict shortly. So as mentioned, this is the NES version, the 8-bit consoles we're going to take a look at now. The first difference here is you have to drive to the shop in the NES version to go and load up your car, etc. You heard the tunes at the beginning there. Alright, not too bad. This is obviously very different to the 8-bit computer version. more traffic on the roads, that sort of stuff, which isn't a bad thing. It's pretty good. Coming to the shop, you buy your bits. No forklift on this version. You have to sort of manually just select it and it puts it on there for you. Then we come to the screen here where you go to the haunted section. You drive to the haunted house as per all the other versions. And there's this one now. As you can see, there's more ghosts to trap. But you get multiple times to trap them, look. So, a fairly easier system than the home computers, I felt. Maybe made it a bit more playable. What do you guys think? As always, let me know in the comments. And then there was this, right at the very end. This was floor 1 here, as you can see, of the tower. And you have to make your way up the tower, dodging the ghosts as you go. Now, you'll see the point I'm going to make about this very shortly, because you sort of time it so the ghosts move and stuff, and there you go, until you get to floor 22. So you have to go all the way up to floor 22 to get that. And then once you've done that floor, you get to the final level here, up through the thing, and then you meet Gozo. Was it Gozo? Or Zul? You guys remember? Tell me in the comments. And you got to zap away until there's no more energy left on there. A bit risque this for Nintendo when you think about it, because they didn't really do breasticles very well, did they? And nipples and stuff, but there are no nipples evident now, so I suppose this was acceptable. Anyway, keep zapping away, get multiple hits on until you've defeated her, should I say, and then when they're defeated, you'll get to the ending. So this is very different to the 8-bits again, in respect of you actually get to fight a final boss, whilst on the 8-bit home computer systems you just had to sort of dodge past Marshmallow Man to get to the final bit. And there it goes, there's your end game. And then we come to the Sega Master System version of Ghostbusters. No speech on this version. Sound wasn't too bad. Good little use of the tune there. As with the 8-bit home versions, go in, buy your bits straight away before the game starts. I like the little forklift on this. I thought it was very well animated, nicely drawn. So very good overall. Then we come to this screen here. As you can see, it's a bit busier. Graphically, it's better. It's a lot brighter. A bit more going on. And I liked this, the bit where you drive to the to catch your ghosts and stuff, hoover your ghosts up as you go. It was graphically very pleasant, bit of traffic and that on the roads, catching the ghosts as you went, a little kilometre count down there, and you make it to your destination, and again, trapping the ghosts. Graphically, this looked very good as well, and as you can see, this is a good catch, this one. Watch this one, chaps, you'll be impressed at this. Ready? And all in one hit, boom, there it is. So you catch your ghosts, and again, the Marshmallow Man. So you get through, we've got the Ghostbusters through, and in a similar vein to the NES version, you're making your way up the tower, but you get to shoot at the ghosts as they appear, rather than just dodging. And I felt this was a really nice little aspect to the game. A little bit of a shoot 'em up at the end. Get to the very top level, through you go, and there you go. And we're about to face off the final boss. Again, with the home systems, you didn't get the sort of end of level boss bit, which I thought was a nice little touch. Really, shame they couldn't add this to the 8-bit systems. But you blast away, knock down the energy on Goza, or Goza, was it Goza? And there you go, defeated Goza, and the end of the game is nigh. There you go, congratulations, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You saved the city and will go down in history as the hero that annihilated Goza, the god of destruction. For your gallant effort, you earned a reward of £5,000. Upon awakening from a deep slumber, Goza attempted to destroy our great metropolis. However, you crushed his vicious plan and stopped him once and for all. You have this to restore peace and order to the beloved city, the end.
So that concludes the different versions of Ghostbusters. Now, what a game, eh? What a game, what a game. Now, first off, before we get into my verdict on who wins, etc., remember, if you don't already subscribe, please do so, because I'm so close to that 1k subscribers, which would be awesome to achieve. Anyway, so let's think about this now. Initially, when I had this game on my Spectrum, I wasn't a huge fan of the game. It wasn't my least favourite game, but it wasn't my favourite either. Let's be honest, if I had about 5 or 6 titles on the go at that time, I'd go and play it, but it wouldn't be my first choice. Let's just put it that way. So, the ZX Spectrum version of this game, Ghostbusters. The sound. I have to commend the ZX Spectrum on the sound of this. The speech. They pulled off some speech, which is... That's brilliant for the Specky. So very well done on that that front. But that's my memories of the game, all right? But I hadn't played the C64 version or the Amstrad. I'd seen the C64 version played at a friend's house, but I never got to play it myself. So let's rank these bad boys now. In third position, it goes to the Amstrad CPC. What were you thinking, Amstrad, on this one? It just seemed to play slower than the others. The speech that it tried to sample was so distorted that, hey, I don't think I'd have bothered, to be fair. So, third position for the Amstrad. And in second position, it goes to the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, the version I remember the best. Now, as I've already told you guys, I really commend the Spectrum on the sound it did for this. Very well done. Graphically, wasn't as good as the C64, but we know that because it was obviously C64's one. But overall, still wasn't a bad version at all. So well done, Specky. And obviously in first position, the Commodore 64. But you guys already knew that, I'm sure. So, sound-wise, it was brilliant. Had a great rendition of the Ghostbusters theme running throughout the game. Had great speech. Graphically, it was the best of the three. And it played the best of the three overall. So, very well done. Versus video, we're back with a Commodore 64 win. So, well done, Commodore. And then we took a look at the 8-bit home console systems of the day, and this was their variation on Ghostbusters. Now with this, we got the good and we got the bad, okay? The bad being the NES version, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Not the best, I'm afraid, guys. Didn't enjoy this one really at all. Could have done much better, I felt. Which obviously is the winner for the 8-bit consoles of the day, goes to the Sega Master System. Now this was a pucker version. Really enjoyable, really playable, great graphics, brilliant, really well done, and so nicely done this was. And if anything, out of all the versions I played, probably the most playable, probably the best overall. But anyway, I broke them up into the two camps, which is what I do on this channel. Now, as always, folks, I'm sure a lot of you guys have got great memories of this game because it was hugely popular and must have sold bucket loads. I know I had huge memories of it, which I shared with you guys at the beginning. So do let me know in the comments your memories of this, because it was great. And which version did you own and play? And am I right or wrong on how I've placed the different versions? Because hey, you know, they're only my opinions. So let's have your opinions in the comments, please, because I really appreciate you guys' knowledge, and the stuff you know about these games is, well, far greater than I would ever know. And of course, hit the like and the sub button, because you already know I'm close at 1,000 subs. Now anyway, thanks for watching, people. I've been OGDuffy. You guys have been you. I'm the original gamer. And I'll see you all very, very soon for some pick-up videos, some other videos, and some versus videos, of course. Anyway, I'm out. If you watch the video and you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more great videos. Thanks for watching.